Before I begin my address, I want to say thank you a million times to Mrs. Bovell, Mr. Strong, Ms. Morgan and company, who left here last night after having transforming this place that looked differently to what it looks like today. I'll say more now. Last year, I stood at this podium and announced that it would have been my final speech day report at the Parkinson Memorial School. Obviously, things did not go according to plan, and I'm here once more with what I will most definitely say will be my last, final, and absolute end of the journey address. I am sorry, my lovely Tennille. I remember the words you said to me in my office. But even those passionate pleas from you will not convince me. I still love you all the same. When I spoke last year, words like disappointment, hurt, resignation, and resistance formed part of my experience. Today, although I will have some disappointment, my emotional focus is more on satisfaction and appreciation. What a difference a year two decisions made. And obviously, the fact that I acknowledge my wife's presence, who gives me such a comfortable, relaxing home, that I can be strong and confident in my life. Thank you, ma'am. Today, unlike last year, when I was forced to fight off misrepresentations, attempts at interdiction, and damning actions that serve only to compromise the students of this school, my record will be much more dispassionate. I will allow the attention-seeking and disappointed sheep-herder to his silly and selfish devices. I will give a review of the year, but seeing it will be my final report, I will couch this in an overview of my stewardship here at Parkinson Memorial School. This review will focus on academics, culture, sports, service, school outreach, and professional affirmation. The theme for this year's program, Shaping Your Journey Through Knowledge, Skills, Values, and Creative Imagination, quite directly defines the job of any principal in contemporary schools. These are the areas that must build the citizens of tomorrow, who are so important for national development. These are also the areas that point quite decidedly to the need for collaboration and continuous assessment and readjustment. The famous Russian-American biochemistry professor and author Isaac Asimov defined life with the simple suggestion that it is change, continuing change, inevitable change that is a dominant factor in society today. No sensible decision can be made any longer without taking into account not only the world as it is, but the world as it will be. Although I've always been a believer in that view, I am more pointedly a disciple of the education writer Todd Whitaker, who posits that while change is inevitable, growth is optional. Herein lies the great challenge, even the virtual conundrum. Change, though optional, is the focus of education, and it is neither focused nor, and if it is not focused nor strategic, it can lead to turmoil. Growth must be tied to the different levels of change and must be the objective of any worthy educational thrust. Education without growth is a simple exercise of spinning top in mud. Stagnation, boredom, frustration, time and resource wasting are the ultimate results, followed of course by quite predictable failure and indiscipline. With growth, student, staff, and institution as my focus early in my tenure here, I spent at least 3 weeks locked away in the office, reading the school strategic plan, its yearly reports for the 5 preceding years, and all other available information. People thought I was frightened for people. These, I believe, would have helped me to understand the culture and legacy of the school. They would also help me align my focus with what was important to positively impact the school and the eventual outcomes of those who work and study here. I should have realized my difficulty from early. When I got such open resistance and the private tongue lashing in my office, when I made a simple procedural change and invited the parents out of the sun and into the hall to join us and their children in prayers on Coronation Day. Something I have done for all my years as principal out of respect, and I really mean this, for my grandmother, who spent too much time in the sun heading cane in Hales Plantation. It should have been clear to me then that the necessary structural and cultural changes that I would propose would be resisted even more aggressively. Protecting what you've helped to build, even if it's clearly failing, is a part of human nature. I was just too starry-eyed and optimistic to see it at that time. In the school year 2014-2015, the school's academic performance was below, and I mean definitely below expectations, and simply reversed the improvement track that had been charted by the Initiative Schools Restructured and Customized Curriculum 2013-2016. This has hurt and disappointed me. I have never been one to seek to be politically correct, Mr. Minister, in my speech. I will always call a spade a spade. So if you have plans for another commission, start them now. The lawyer for me and the lawyer against me are both here today. So I don't know if they work it out. Let those who see that as earning me a tag of being controversial or a demon, as I was recently called, simply because I dared to draw attention to a child's disrespectful and uncouth behavior, double down on their assessment. I will not change. Let it be clear that although I love children, I love them dearly, I will never bend nor compromise on issues of character, not for them, their parents, or anyone else, and indeed my children will. These disappointing results were a direct result of two actions. Our children are at the level where they need continual and intense teaching. This they did not get during the year under review. They were denied such teaching before the industrial action. They got no teaching during the industrial action, and they were given very little teaching after the industrial action. Our children suffered and were left out of the cold to satisfy some groups' grab for publicity and position almost with impunity. Some time ago, one of my friends, while objecting to my position, suggested that the Ministry of Education, which should be providing solutions to our problems, had become the problem. Recently, I have been forced to wonder if he was not right. Additionally, and equally importantly, during my absence on medical leave at the beginning of the school year, I was out for 4 weeks when school started. A significant disservice was done to these children, in my view. At least 7 clearly outlined structures to correct the failures that this school had experienced for at least 5 years before my arrival were removed. This was done with absolutely no interaction with me, not even a simple telephone call. Of course, the excuse was then widely spouted that is a direct mandate from the Chief Education Officer. What a sad lash at these children's progress, simply to ensure adult satisfaction in their individual comfort zones. If this were not enough, when I dared to object to what I saw as unfair and regressive as an educational approach, I was threatened with interdiction. Indeed, I received a letter from the permanent secretary that sought to initiate the process, accusing me of things of which I knew nothing. I stood tall and responded as would be expected of the one they choose to call controversial. I was written by the permanent secretary accusing me of failing to carry a directive issued and for being insubordinate to the Chief Education Officer. I was also accused of committing misconduct of a serious nature in contravention of the Public Service Act, Cap 29. Each of these was an interdictable offense that could have cost me my job, my gratuity, and my pension. There was only one problem. None of it was true. My response was simple, as I now reproduce from my correspondence of November 2014. And I wrote, "It is a fact that I returned from medical leave to find no fewer than 7 changes to the school's agreed curriculum design and timetable. These changes, made without any consultation with the substantive principal, were pedagogically regressive, clearly an attack on student chances of success, focused instead on maintaining individual adult comfort zones and free time, as well as a misuse of taxpayers' money. Despite my very strong objection to these actions, I have left the situation untouched. I have chosen instead to go on my knees every day in prayer for these children who have been so disrespected. This I do, accepting that my ability to do my duty has been compromised in seeking to carry out my statutory responsibilities as outlined at Cap 4118G, take necessary steps to ensure the pupils make satisfactory progress in all parts of the curriculum, as well as Cap 4118E, provide leadership in the improvement of the educational program and render guidance and advice to teachers." There was no response to my letter. And of course, I have this year reinstated all 7 of the structures and added another. These children deserve only the best. During my tenure here at Parkinson, I've had the distinct pleasure of working with some outstanding persons in the performing arts sector, as Mr. Hope would have alluded to earlier. With the support of the head of the department, Mrs. Barbara Bovell, someone I have gotten to love and to call my friend over the past 3 years. I have challenged Mr. Eastman, Mr. Hope, Mr. Clifford, and Mr. Cummings to take the exceptional talent within this school to heights previously unknown. Parkinson has therefore been able to organize and host an exciting old Barbadian display and creative art exhibition. We have also continued to make a positive impact on our national festival in NIFCA. At least 2 students will be highlighted this morning for the exceptional performances in this showcase of talent. You will also see the introduction of the Dorsey Boyce Cultural Personality of the Year Award in honor of an outstanding old scholar. He, more than anyone else, came forward to answer the call and fill every need that existed here that was brought to his attention. Buying computers for the school, giving me thousands of dollars to start our book writing club. I have absolute respect for him and commit to financially supporting this award for as long as the Lord makes it physically possible for me to do. The School of Edwin Yearwood, has lifted the bar and has established ourselves as the only secondary school that hosts an annual Calypso competition. Thanks to the hard work of Mr. Eastman and his team, we have established Calypso on the Pine as our distinctive brand. You will hear the 2015 winner later in the program. We have also hosted both our internal and national inter-school singing competition. I know that we have overworked Mr. Ho, who simply has a problem saying no to me when called upon to do anything in support of our children and our school. And we must also lift our hats to Mr. Cummings, who worked tirelessly to revive the Super Voices competition, according to him, that had laid dormant for a number of years. This has brought Jaisha Samuel to the fore, you heard her. I have already been in discussion with the Consul General in New York, Mrs. Donna Hunt Cox, and the Parkinson singing talent will take that city by storm in July. I will be out of the system by then, but my heart will still be pumping Parkinson blood. Be assured of that. Tickets have already been assured for 2 persons, and we're taking at least 5. Sports have been a significant part of the Parkinson profile over the years that I have known this school, and it continues to be. At this time, I would like to acknowledge the presence of a former Parkinson head boy and Barbados Olympian, Mr. Rawl Clark, who's a long-time friend of mine. Mr. Clark, please stand and take a bow. As your program shows, we have a diverse sports offering here at the school. And I can only extend my thanks to Mr. Everett Eastman and the Sky Mall for the continued support of sports here and the excellent performance of our children. In cricket, where my navel string can be found, we have Tyler Small, who scored the most runs at under 15, and Tashawn Boyce, who, through his performances, has earned a place in the Afterweek Center of Excellence. Miss Olivia Walcott has been a tower of strength, ensuring success at netball as well as girls basketball, as she introduced with the assistance of another supportive and outstanding old scholar, Mr. Barry Rock, who comes to my office and keeps me well entertained and protected. He's a big one. Here I wish to thank the Board of Management for acceding to my request to bring Ms. Walker on staff as a part-time teacher rather than simply having her come a couple evenings a week to coach. We have also been very competitive in both boys and girls football. Of course, our pride goes with the 3 girls who represented Barbados in the under-19 tournament, especially Moesha Goodman, who was chosen as the top player. Give Moesha a big hand. Track and field continues to be a focus, although I'm convinced there's a long way for us to go before we get back to our glory days of the past. It's with that focus that I pushed Mr. Lennox Ellis into introducing a full school cross-country program to help jumpstart our athletes for the coming season. It's a journey that will not be completed in a year, but one that must be made. My one regret at Parkinson in sports is that we do not have a volleyball team, although I heard Mr. Cummings speak, we're starting one soon. This is even more unfortunate when it is realized that we not only had the nation's best school girl player during my stint here, but we also have a former outstanding player on staff. Maybe that will soon change. At least I really, really hope so. Last year, I introduced you to the leadership of our prefect body when I suggested whom I suggested combine to promote themselves as the best collection of student leaders that I've ever worked with. And this is my 41st year. They did not disappoint me. Today, I give them high commendation and thanks for upholding the positive tenets of this school and for going above and beyond the call of duty to do what was right and necessary in times of challenge. You know that I will always love you, children. And Rashaan, we know that finally your parents have accepted that I am your real dad. That will not change. This year, and with the support of Miss Joan Harding, we have taken a more acute focus on student leadership as a strategy for addressing issues of discipline and motivation. We have identified Ms. Harding to have overall responsibility for this area and given her the time released for it, both with internal programs and external workshops and other areas of leadership training and involvement. She has responded quite professionally, and I also extend my thanks and appreciation to her for going even beyond my wildest expectations. Ma'am, Ms. Harding, I don't see you, but you now can tell anybody that the principal has finally called your name without throwing more work at you. You are a credit to this school, as was shown with your organization of the prefect training when you sacrifice your vacation time. I extend my sincere thanks and appreciation to you. This year, as part of our strategic focus and with respect to our expanded student roll of 970 at this stage, we have selected 2 deputy head boys and 2 deputy head girls In each case, one for the junior and one for the senior school, supporting the respective heads and being responsible for the subordinate senior and junior prefects. We have also insisted on the operation of a student council to identify and present student concerns. I am strong in my belief that students are not always wrong or at fault, and they should also have a voice. I respect the commitment of Mr. Justin Brown and Ms. Deborah Harding-Hoyt, and know that this leadership thrust is in very good hands and will grow. Finally, in an effort to increase student involvement in the process, we have insisted on each form having a captain and a deputy. They have been presented with their badges that they now wear with pride, and I smile sometimes when I see one pushing it up. I'm form captain. I am and have always been a believer that education is not only about dispensing knowledge or encouraging the development of creative and critical thinking. It is about those, but is equally also about providing structures for our churches to build good character. That must be a decided responsibility of all who join this profession. It's because of my strong views in this area that I was particularly hurt and supremely disappointed when I returned from illness to discover that the service component ascribed to returning performers was removed. And all simply to appease some person's selfish interest that was inconsistent with our strategic focus. From what they said to me, the parents were also upset, and I, in my private moments, used some words to describe the persons who made the change without any contact with me that I could never use in public or in the presence of my children. I had spent an entire week during the summer vacation meeting with all these children and their parents. We had discussed the conditions for their being given an additional year, and each of them and their parents had signed a contract that had two major defining components. They would pursue studies in 4 subjects, some were allowed 5, to improve on a number of passes they had already acquired, or to get the proverbial second bite of the cherry to gain passes in those that they had missed out on. The second component involved them identifying 4 lessons during which they would give weekly voluntary service to a children's home, a senior citizen's home, a primary nursery school, a medical facility, their church, or service entity such as the Cancer Society reception. It worked exceptionally well the year before. The message was clear that nothing comes for free. If you get something, you must give something in return. This was removed and the students forced to do a full program of study of subjects, some of which they could not handle and did not care about, a sure prescription for frustration and indiscipline. Of course, failure will result, as it did. These children were shortchanged, and I dare say, so was our country. We need to be very cognizant of the subliminal messages that we send to developing minds. The second area of service that was distastefully removed without even a phone call to me, and which made me the object of public vilification, was an intervention initiative for teachers to give a little more to assist children. This involves small group tutoring to students preparing for their CSET examinations. All teachers are guaranteed 5 non-teaching lessons, or non-contact, I should say, because the deputy knows about substitutions, and 10 for the seniors. Every teacher in this school, with possibly 2 exceptions, had a minimum of 7 or 12. I requested that in specific core subjects, some of these sacrifice 1 or possibly 2 lessons weekly to give personal assistance to groups of 2 or 3 students. This would provide these children with continual practice that would be assessed and addressed by the teacher. I saw nothing but positive in this, but it was also removed, as I have said, and the word mandate was used to justify it. Of course, I reinstated it this year. Our deputy principal has given such support, and I commend you and thank you, Mrs. Scott. Your thorough journey has been very supportive, and you've earned my respect. And he's been very supportive, and he has volunteered to be in the program. I think he has 2 groups. I chose to lead by example. I also have my group of 3 children for English tutoring. I suspect we'll go to 4 because a young man recalled told me he wants to join my group. I queried what thought process would have allowed an education leader or educational supervisor to dismiss these virtual free lessons to children within the time for which teachers are being paid. Was it simply love free time and keep adults firmly entrenched in a comfort zone? No wonder some persons call me the common factor, and others say they cannot work with me. I have absolutely no difficulty with either statement, because this is my profession that I love and I have been attracted to since I was 5 years old. It requires total commitment. And I stand by a statement I've developed over the years. If one isn't passionate about teaching, they should not get into it. If they do and cannot be respectful of its challenges, they should get out of it. And if they're not professional in the execution of their responsibilities, they should be put out of it. And I stand by that. I pull no punches in distinguishing myself from others who think differently. I love teaching, I love working with children. The excuse of always putting the blame on children for failure is just that, an excuse. When we shout loudly about the kind of children we have here, I simply recall my former principal, Mr. Darrell Jordan, saying, well, let's see what programs we have here to address the needs of the children that we have here. We are paid to make a difference, and that's why we are in the classroom and not the guy at the rum shop door. Be quiet, Mr. Vernon Williams. Let's be absolutely clear here. There are some exceptionally good persons teaching and working at this school. Most I respect for the good work they do. Others I have added to the respect the words like and even love. Many of whom will become friends for life. Mr. Halgod, Mr. Vernon Smith, I thank the Prime Minister or whoever else made the decision to send me here. As I said to Mr. Eastman and Mrs. Arthur only this week, I wish they sent me 2 years earlier. It has also given me the opportunity to reconfirm that my daughter, and I spoke to her this morning, is indeed the best advisor that I've ever had. Because she told me, Daddy, go along without question. How else, if it had not come here, would I have had the pleasure and distinct satisfaction of working with people like Patricia Doyle, who just happens, without doubt, to be the best school secretary in this country. And yes, Ms. Doyle, your pizza with pineapple is here waiting for you. Patricia Williams, Sandra Lord, my veritable Lord of Sandra. Julia Eady, the best guidance counselor. Mr. Harold Strawn, Catherine Mitchell, Emerson Knight, Sophie Rollins, Vadley Johnson, Arthur Crawford, Ken Lane, Kelly Arthur, Juliet Holder, and Patsy Innes Pierce. I'm teaching her to spell now. She spells Broomes, C-L-A-R-K-E. We had a lesson this afternoon, Miss Innes Pierce. I could go on and on, but will end by acknowledging Shari Messiah, who has taught me significant lessons in humility and forgiveness. People would not know the challenges Ms. Messiah and I had all last year, when we didn't even say good morning to each other. I thank you, Shari, for bringing something out of me that, like the mythical genie, will never be able to go back into the bottle. You will always have my respect. At this time, I think it's appropriate to congratulate Mr. Downs for completing his diploma in education and teacher training. My congratulations also go to Ms. Chanel Gill and Mr. Randy Eastman, both of whom were also successful and attained double distinctions. We are exceptionally proud of you. Last year, as some recall, I spoke about the introduction of remedial class with unanimous support of the parents and consistent with my duty to create opportunities to improve student performance. All that is, that's sought to assist those students who came into the school with a combination average of lower than 30 marks. This gave them 2 years in first form. This, of course, proved to be contentious and, based on what was written to me, formed one of the areas for industrial action. Those students were allowed 2 years in first form, with the first year being a bridging year to help cement their foundation. I'm very pleased to announce that 2 of these children in their second year have earned induction into the Royal Parkinson Circle of Excellence, the school's virtual honor roll. Children sometimes only need that second chance, and I believe in giving it, irrespective of whoever objects. During the past year, another respect for the fact that we are a member of a specific community that needs our help, similar to how we seek assistance from the businesses in our area. We formed partnerships consistent with our outreach program. We initiated a joint effort with the Pinelands Creative Workshop that give free comprehensive lessons to the youth of the surrounding communities. I have accepted the responsibility for the teaching, working with Mrs. Sophia Graves, Broomes, and Mr. Rodney Grant. This has proven to be an immense success. I thank the Board of Management for allowing us use of the facilities, and both Mrs. Doyle and Mrs. Worrell for helping me complete the work on a weekly basis. That is what Jeff Broomes and the teachers are doing here. Additionally, and after a number of persons had lost their jobs, especially from NCC, we reached out to the NUPW and also provided similar lessons to the children of those displaced union workers. I'm sure, I didn't mean to surprise you, but Mr. Minister, some people from NCC did lose their jobs. Again, out of a recognition that many teachers here have been assisting our children and others with lessons at different levels, I accepted to do the teaching as well. Come here any Saturday morning, Mrs. Richards Barrow, Mrs. Arthur, many others are here teaching mornings and after school evenings. They're reaching out to help other children. I thank you, Mr. Dennis Clark and Dr. Patrick Rowe from the Ministry of Education for your assistance on the Saturday lessons. I know my wife is very thankful for the fact that my Saturdays are now very well and wholesomely spent. This school is a caring school. Mr. Minister, as I just intimated, and you may not be aware of, there are few persons who lost their jobs last year. Some of them have children here, and thanks to our supportive partners, especially the Ivy Viola Williams Foundation and the Sky Mall, as well as our staff, especially Mrs. Edie and Miss Aldine Jordan, we were able to provide monthly food hampers for 6 months to those families, and we still give assistance. We have tried to do our part to help alleviate some of their struggles. That is what Jeff Broomes and the teachers here are doing. They just quarrel all the time. Additionally, we have instituted a breakfast program paid for from funds realized from a daily popcorn sales. Yes, we bought a popcorn machine, we sell popcorn for specific things like this. This supports the daily lunches provided by the school meal service. No child of this school should be distracted or kept away from school because of hunger. I thank Ms. Angela White, one of our maids, for her assistance. Last year, I initiated my personal support and now state publicly that I will continue to make $5,000 available to this school annually to assist as a principal and guidance counselor proposed. And Mr. Minister, this will not in any way challenge what I already do for that school in your constituency, as well as Gordon, Greenwich, and Royal Everest. Indeed, I will also add St. Lucie primary to where my daughter went to school. We have to help each other. Seeing that I will not be here to make this report next year, although this, what I'm going to say now came after the end of the year, I wish to thank the entire staff of this school for their support in providing assistance to the people of Dominica. We hosted an in-house concert and were able to pay and send one of our teachers, a Dominican by birth, to that country with an excess of $10,000 worth of textbooks and more than $1,000 in cash. I have been privileged to see the presentation made by her to the Ministry of Education, and I was very, very proud of our school. That's what our teachers are doing here. We as a school have done well, but we've had some challenges that were more disturbing to me than the orchestrated industrial action for which I lost regular sleep. These areas are the exact reasons why I know that my time has come to leave a place that I've enjoyed being a part of. As we see, this hall is nothing but a dump with serious electrical problems, but no action has been taken to improve it, no matter how often I have complained. I must leave for something good to happen here. I have pleaded on numerous occasions to have the ignominy removed from Parkinson Memorial School, being the only, and I will repeat, I said to you already, Mr. Minister, the only, and I'll say a third time so you can say four things I cabinet, the only secondary school in this country to have neither a sports pavilion nor a hard court. We have to draw the car park for people to play netball. It's not fair. This is so despite our outstanding legacy and the commendable success of our sports teams, especially the girls who have to play every game away from school. And despite that, they still beat Harrison College, Mr. Scott, Queen's College, Lodge School in netball. We went back, we beat Foundation, we beat St. Michael, we beat Graydon Sealy in basketball. All home at them. Miss Walker, I love you. But we want a hardcore or pavilion or both. Might please continue to fall on deaf ears. So I know I must leave for something good to happen here. Last year, I was asked by the Board of Management to invite persons to submit quotations to enclose the Malcolm Marshall Park. This I did. The persons, one of whom is here in the audience today, still giving sponsor support for an award, came, did their measurements, and submitted their quotations. To this day, they have never once been called to discuss or to justify their submissions. Sad. But what is even more sad to me is the fact that in anticipation of a move to recognizing an iconic old scholar, I had spoken to Mrs. Bovell, the head of art, to have the school logo on the wall, and she was more than overjoyed and excited and eager to do it. I also, because of my knowledge and probably links with a few people, I use my personal phone call, what do I say, the wife called, phone call, it's her house. I also called Hampshire in England and Natal in South Africa to seek support to honor one of whom I knew they felt very highly of. In the case of Natal, in response to their query, I mentioned that the highest bid that I saw was approximately 70,000 US dollars, 140,000 Barbados dollars. Their response, is that all? Not easy. I have been deeply hurt by this non-action of the board and have reacted by non-appearances. Malcolm Marshall was my very good friend and the biggest seller of this school. He has a sister who works here as well. So just give for a minute, just picture the revenue potential through advertising on a wall so strategically placed on a highway. I drove by Commerce School yesterday and saw the little side screen, and they make thousands of that. We can make 5 times what they make. I have to leave for something good to happen here. I went to CBC. I was told CBC has adopted us. I never saw what they were doing. Well, they gave us good publicity and stuff. I made a simple request, and the general manager, who's my club mate at North Stars, and the manager of Multi-Choice, who's my former teaching colleague at St. Lucie, and who used to come to my house and read to my daughter while I gave him a ride home. They said, yes, they put free multi-choice in the principal's office and free multi-choice in each staff room for teachers to watch cricket when playing, or in the case of the principal, to watch Maury or Price is Right. I was shocked when I got a letter from the chief education officer that the board wrote complaints for me doing that. I could not believe it. I wrote him back, and I got nothing back from him. As I said, I have to leave for something good to happen here. I took the time some months ago to raise the issues of this school to the hierarchy of the Ministry of Education, led by the minister at the Lloyd Erskine Sanford Center. The deputy was there, and I see some colleagues here from Harrison College and Grantley Adams and Alexandra and Mr. Allen, the guy next to you, Ellerslie, my friend, Major. They were there, raised the issues about this school. The minister was surprised. Until my colleagues, that doesn't happen there. The permanent secretary asked me to call her, which I did. She asked me to put it in writing to her, which I did. It is noteworthy that I have so far written no fewer than 4 letters to this ministry explaining the whole position without the simple professional courtesy or personal decency of a simple response. They were not lost in the mail, they were hand-delivered. 2 by me and 2 by Major Mordor. My grandmother had a word to describe people who reacted like that. But I will make no judgment and simply allow you to make your own assessments. All that I said, I have to leave for something good to happen here. Recently, I heard the Minister of Education speak with a focus on 6th form schools. I smiled and noted that after extensive meetings with my administrative team, I submitted a proposal not once or twice, but 3 times for the creation of a 6th form at the place from which I was sent to Parkinson, and with no response. Congratulations, Adam. It was noteworthy that just a few short months after my exit from that place, a 6th form was established there. As I said, I have to leave for something good to happen. With that in mind, though, I propose that 6th forms should not only be the humdrum carbon copies with a focus on the sciences, law, communication studies, and business. I present Parkinson Memorial School as a school to take us into the future with the respect for the man whose name we carry, Augustus Rawle Parkinson, our proud legacy of sport and culture, as well as the challenges to contemporary society in terms of technology. Make Parkinson a 6th form school with a focus on technical and vocational education, technology, the performing arts, and sports medicine. You can't go wrong. And I would have left, so something good should happen here. Don't for 1 second see my observations and complaints as anything but a presentation of the facts. If you know me, you know that I am not now, have never been, and will never be a victim. I am just too passionate, appreciative, and focused for that. I know I only have a few months more in this career, and I suspect that some group or collection of attention seekers will seek to bring drama into my life. And I will respond, as I know no other way. I have enjoyed my stint at Parkinson, but I also stand here today to say many thanks to the wonderful students, parents, and colleagues, not only of Parkinson, but of St. Lucie Secondary, no Darrell Jordan, St. James Secondary, no Frederick Smith, the St. Michael's School, and Alexandra, as well as my alma mater, College and Hurry. You have all shaped me into whatever I am, good or bad. It has become fashionable, and I heard it within the last 2 months, I heard it 6 different times, for persons at their goodbyes to invoke the words of Frank Sinatra from his very popular song, My Way. But this is Jeff Broomes. And no Italian-American from Hoboken, New Jersey can speak for me. I had what he never got, an outstanding Barbadian education. So I speak for me in Broomer style as I say goodbye with thanks. I started the journey in 1975, was given the support so that I could thrive. I was guided and helped for a long, long while, being fashioned with frowns on every smile, trained to be selfless and quite committed, and strengthened by family in all that I did. Now the time has come for me to go. My journey is done, and that I well know. With head held high, having answered the call, I did my part, and with standards to tall. So thanks to those who shaped this moment, my principals, colleagues, and students. And as God has brought me to this day, through struggle and challenge, the Broomer did pray. I was shouldered with ice and dragged through hottest fire, but strong values and focus made me much better. Yes, there were forks and a maze or two, but to my conscience, I was always true. For I dreamed and charted a vision and worked undeterred for the mission. So appreciate it or not, Broomer was what you got. Me, no hypocrisy. Broomer style was there for all to see, because all I did was done in style. Yes, style, Broomer style. I wish the Parkinson family all the best in the future, and I will do my part to ensure that for the next few months, and hope that they allow God to guide their path. God bless you all, and may God continue to richly bless Barbados.